guys? Welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy. He is 20 years old, a college student, and he's writing in to say a big thank you both to myself as well as all you guys in the community. That ever since he found my channel, it has really helped him out to really see the reality of everything that I talk about here on this channel. And he's not only just thanking me, but he's also thanking all you guys. All you guys have taken the time to write in and share your stories, some that were probably very difficult to write in, maybe a little humiliating, to guys that send in good articles, content, whatever that cover this channel. He thanks you. And he also thanks all the guys that comment all the time on the videos, because this has allowed him to really get a perspective from guys all around the world to see that it isn't just one dude's opinion on YouTube. This is guys all over the planet that are pretty much saying the same thing that I talk about on this channel. Because he's going to admit here that before he found my work, and I think other channels like this, he was your typical young kid that had a very naive view of the world, a lot of it influenced by things like movies and TV and the media and all that. But what he's observed with his generation is so much of what I talk about here and what you guys talk about and all that. So it's really opened his eyes. And he's now completely focused on his goals, his purpose, making himself out to be the type of guy that I want all you guys to be, on his grind, doing well for himself. Because when you're that young, you got your whole life ahead of you. And the decisions you make at such a young age will pretty much set the course for how your life is going to go. So it's great to hear this. He's doing well, and I'm just so proud of both him as well as and just proud of the whole community here that's helped out. It's really rewarding to hear people are doing well. So I thought you guys would like to hear this from him. He says here, hey there, SSM. I'm a 20-year-old college student who recently found your channel, and I wanted to briefly share my experience with some of the topics that you cover. I would also like to thank you profusely for the service that you offer men worldwide. Brother, you're welcome. I'm so happy to hear it. I love getting these emails from dudes all over the world that's been able to help them out. You're welcome, and thank you for watching. This email isn't about a particular story, but rather about a changed mindset early in life. Before I continue, I should mention that I have never been in a romantic relationship, nor have I ever engaged in any acts of intimacy. It wasn't for a lack of ability or opportunity, but rather due to the effeminate drivel that has tainted so many young women in my generation. There you go. That's what's going on. They start young. And this is what his young generation has observed, that's been put out there in the media, TV, movies, in the schools. Any wonder that the guys aren't interested in girls as much as they were. I mean, when I was a kid, we were all interested in hooking up left and right. That was pretty much on all our minds. But nowadays, it seems like the younger generation, I've observed this and with other young guys I've known and friends of friends and everything, they just don't care. In my opinion, a big part is because you got so many young gals out there that act like masculine dudes. And they're just like, ugh. They're completely repelled by it. Right here. He's acknowledging that. As a result, I haven't felt a specific connection towards anyone that I've met yet that would warrant pursuing a relationship. As a bit of background, while attending high school, I was in phenomenal shape. I worked out religiously and had a lot of eyes on me. I would receive a fair amount of hints and was subjected to flirtation regularly. As I briefly pointed out, the issue is that I've never felt aligned with many of the ideals and tenets of my peers, especially in regards to the whole feminist movement. See? Your gut was telling you something's off. Doesn't feel right. Not to mention probably just annoyed the shit out of you. And unfortunately, your generation has just been so indoctrinated by all that horse shit. He says, I grew up in a household that valued tradition, loyalty, and integrity, which unfortunately are principles that remain in rare supply today, especially among fellow members of Generation Z. In a world where society views infidelity, promiscuity, and disloyalty as empowering. I've come to the realization that the whole Disney happily ever after ending is nothing more than a tired myth. It is a freaking myth. Now, one can take actions to make their lives better, to hopefully have a happily ever after ending, but by you taking action to make your life better, not by relying on, some other person to do it, or, some fairy tale or something like that. Prior to engaging with your content, I was a relatively naive teenager who bought into the modern media narrative surrounding relationships and concepts like true love. No such thing, brother. Even though I wasn't interested in pursuing a romantic relationship with a stereotypical modern woman, I always thought my traditional, pure unicorn was out in the world somewhere waiting for me to rescue her. Rescue her? That's some white knight indoctrination, brother. Gotta go be that hero, the Captain Save you know what. Well, I'm sure you know through all my stories what happens to guys that go around with that mindset. I'm going to rescue that girl. I'm going to rescue that girl that's been in one bad relationship after another, and I'm going to show her how much of a nice guy I am and do all these things for her. And how does that usually work out for that guy? Not very well. So the whole white knight thing is nonsense. It's only going to bring you misery. I thought that when I found her, the two of us would run off to the sunset together. He says, I severely cringe when I think back on this mindset now. Such were my thoughts before I found your channel anyway. Bro, as I've mentioned many times in this channel, I used to be like that too. When I was younger, and we're talking a long time ago, because I'm 44 years old now, this is how I thought as a teenager back in the 90s. And there was no YouTube. Shit, the internet was just starting to come to be around that time period. I was 16 in 1994. And I thought the same way. And I had no one to tell me these things. And already back then, it was already in the movies and TV and all that stuff. So it's way worse now. After tuning into several of your videos in which you cover stories from your subscribers as well as Reddit, I've grown very content with being single. Whereas I loathed the prospect of being alone before, I now cherish the status for the blessing that it is. I'm able to pursue my purpose without interruption, engage in the hobbies I want to engage in, and live my life with minimal drama. There you go, man. Sky's the limit as to the direction your life can go in. And yeah, you can have a whole lot less drama not being in relationships. Now, if the day comes that you want relationships, when you've done your thing and you got yourself on the path you want to be on, okay, fine. But you know at least a lot of things I teach about to just be careful and not to make the mistakes that so many dudes make, etc., etc. Because you may change your mind one day, but right now when you're young at 20 years old, you got to be on your grind, on your purpose. And I know you are. And I'm going to get more into that at the very end, things I want you to work on just to help you out. Once again, I'm incredibly thankful to you and your community for offering a trove of crucial advice to men of all ages and walks of life. I've been able to glean so much from other men's stories without having to gone through the ringer myself to learn these principles. Exactly. That's why I do this, bro. That's why, again, to all you guys that send your stories, and I'm thankful. I really appreciate you doing that. You are doing a service. You may not think you're doing a service. You may think, oh, I'm just sending this into a channel I like. It'd be fun to hear and all that. You're really helping guys. Every one of you. When I go through a story, I know it's going to help someone out there. And it may not be the day I publish the video. It could be in 2 months or 2 years when somebody watches it. It makes them connect the dots and realize, oh, this is where I went wrong or blah, blah. And they've changed. So thank you all. He says, my father has been a solid role model for me in my life. In every aspect, I couldn't have a better mentor. Right there. That's why I tell you guys, young boys need that masculine presence in their life to help set the way. But he must be a masculine presence, not a wimpy, soft, typical guy nowadays. One of the most important lessons he imparted to me early on was the virtue of learning vicariously. I've applied this logic towards your channel and topics that you cover. For instance, I've noticed that a recurring theme in some of your stories and a host of Reddit threads is men thinking that their relationship will be different, that they won't be the ones to be cheated on. That happens all the time, man. From what I've heard, several of them point out in their stories that this sentiment always allowed certain red flags to go unchecked. I'm sure I would have fallen into the exact same trap in the future if it wasn't for the collective wisdom of you and your viewers. That is the common thing. These guys think, oh, it won't be me. Or they're so blinded by their attraction for the girl, or they want that, or they're needy for that love and affection, that there's so many red flags that are quite obvious to anybody else looking at the situation. They ignore them, and they get burned. And I want that to happen to you guys. He says, should I find a partner one day that aligns with my values, I plan on referring back to the vital lessons you consistently reiterate in your videos. I will not place her on a pedestal, and I will do my best to stay vigilant for red flags now that I know what to keep an eye out for in a relationship. Good. And don't forget to, one day, if you want to do relationships, and you may, aside from the don't putting her on the pedestal and watching her for red flags, also checking her. When she starts throwing tests and starts being difficult, which will happen, you check them. And it can be minor little tests that aren't that big a deal, or outright she gets angry about something and decides to throw a temper tantrum in the parking lot of Target. You check her every time, because a man that doesn't check a gal when she's being disrespectful or crossing the line, she won't respect him. And when she doesn't respect a guy, she sure as hell ain't gonna love him. And that's when more BS will happen. But you'll know what to do. I'm sure of it. For now, and always, I plan to continue to pursue my purpose, maintain a solid workout schedule, and engage in productive habits. My goal in writing this, aside from thanking you personally, SSM, is to let the men in your audience who post their stories know that they are greatly appreciated. You have helped awaken this young man before I've ever had the chance to enter my first relationship, and for that I'm unimaginably grateful. I'm sure that just like me, there are many young men out there who are turning to these stories more and more. I apologize that this email seems a bit long-winded. I try to make it as concise as possible while simultaneously conveying my deepest gratitude and appreciation to you and your outstanding community. Keep up the stellar work, SSM. Best regards. Well, bro, thank you. Thank you for writing in, and thank you for watching this stuff. And if you want to thank me, just keep watching, keep doing busting your butt on your grind to accomplish all the things you want to accomplish. But also, share this with your friends. Share this with your male friends to help them out so they don't make a lot of the mistakes that happen in these stories, and they themselves can get on the same path as you and do really well for themselves. That's how you can definitely thank me. But as a quick few tips before I wrap this up, I just want to give a few pieces of advice, which I'm sure you're aware, but I just want to reiterate here. Going forward, I want you to keep, like I said, you're 20 years old, and the decisions you make now are going to determine how the rest of your life go. Keep on your grind. Your grind, your purpose, your goals, that's your number one thing. So right now you're in school, so that means doing the best you can at school. I want you to get the best freaking grades you can get. If an internship comes along the way for whatever you're pursuing, take that internship, etc., etc. And I also want to make sure that while you're in college, whatever you're pursuing, make sure, I'm hoping at this point you've learned, it's a profitable endeavor. You're going to school for something that the cost of you going to school will be worth it in terms of your career or what you plan on doing afterwards. You're not majoring in some BS subject, and therefore it's not going to pay anything, and yet you'll have all these loans. I'm sure you're aware of that, but just want to make sure of that. And also right now when you're in school, but when you're also, like, say, summer vacation, I want you to definitely be busting your butt with a job. Hopefully something that can help you in the future, or just something that can get the most amount of money you can get at this point in your age, whatever level of experience you may have. And I want you to put that money away. I want you to build up an emergency fund, because in life shit happens. Okay, it does. As well as if you have any debts you've racked up by buying things you don't really need on credit cards or whatever, pay those credit cards down. You don't want to have any debt. I know you're going to have debt from school, unless you have a scholarship or family's paying for it. But point is, when you're not in school, you gotta be working somewhere, and to whatever amount of money you can make. If it's whatever skills you have, like I said, and just keep busting your butt, put that money away, pay off any debts you had, build an emergency fund, all that. I also want you to, if you haven't done so already, work on your credit score. Start developing good credit early on. If it means taking out a couple credit cards, you may not get a very high limit on those credit cards, but at least then you get them, and then every month you use it. Just make a couple purchases, maybe put a gas in your car, or to purchase something small and pay it off on time, and that will help build up credit score. You pretty much can't do shit in this world without a good credit score, so you're starting off young at 20 years old. And you can go from there. Just you get those credit cards, don't get carried away and put stuff on there that you can't afford. That's a stupid thing. No sense paying the credit card companies and letting them get rich off the high interest rates and revolving balance, okay? You like working out at the gym? Awesome. Keep at it. Keep your body in shape. Keep doing all that. Awesome. Learn from everybody around you. As you're moving up in life, whatever you want to do, keep learning from people that are smarter than you. Seek mentors, have good advice. You said like your dad's a good role model for you, keep seeking his advice. It's much better to learn from other people who have been through it, like on this channel, than have to go through this shit yourself. That is something when I was younger, I didn't do as much as I should have, asked people for help, because people are willing to help you out. And also, keep educating yourself. Keep every day, learn something new. I don't care what it is, just learn something new. Whether you're learning things on YouTube, picking up a book and reading it, I don't care what. Keep doing that. Learn about finance, learn about money, all that type of thing, and you'll be just fine. But keep busting your butt. And again, one day down the road, if you are to the point where you're doing what you want to do, you're making good money, you got a good credit score, you got no debts or very little or manageable debt, all that, then you want to do relationships, at least you'll be armed and dangerous with the knowledge how to handle things going forward. But there's no freaking rush, and just keep doing what you're doing, bro. And I'm really glad to hear that you're doing well, and appreciate that you sent in this email. And also, when you're ready and you got extra money, open up a retirement account and start investing and building up the retirement account. You can only put X amount in per year, but you can start building that and letting it grow over the decades. Start off young, and you'll be fine. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let this guy know what you think about this. Let him any other good tips you might suggest for a young 20-year-old to help him out on his journey. I would definitely appreciate that, and so would he. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.